Hello and welcome to the Public TV of Armenia. Today I am honored to host Ms. Assita Kanko, member of European Parliament, to discuss with her support to the recognition of process of the Armenian Genocide and approach by the European Parliament, and also touch the topic of Armenian-Belgian relations. Madam Kanko, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Armenians all around the world and their friends commemorated the Armenian Genocide in Ottoman Empire on April 24. However, there are still countries who oppose recognition of 1915 events as genocide. What is your opinion about this?
Well, I think, first of all, what I would like to say is all my support to the Armenian people for everything that has been going on. And I would like to stress the fact that we believe that worldwide everyone should recognize that this genocide happened. If it's not recognized, people who suffered and people who live here in this area today will not recover. And second, it will also kind of make things be possible to happen again in the future. So we need to have peace with history. We need to recognize these facts, and we need to commemorate the suffering of so many people.
There are still many evidence-based facts that Turkey now is involved in many conflicts directly or indirectly, but Ankara denies that. What can you tell about this?
In the European Parliament, we have spoken several times about this. I have always supported the people of Nagorno-Karabakh, for example, and also criticized the behavior of Turkey, because Turkey has to respect all the international agreements. However, what Turkey has been doing in the region is totally unacceptable. But we have noticed recently a slight change in attitude, perhaps influenced by trade necessities. It's also a possibility. But what we need is a sustainable change. It is really the respect of the international agreements.
And also Ankara took a destructive stance in several regions, Caucasus, Mediterranean, Africa, Middle East. What can you tell about this, and what is the general perception in European Parliament about this?
In the European Parliament, generally, there is a lot of support to help end the conflict and in the region, and also to help the people in need. I have met the Armenian ambassador here several times, also to have a discussion with her. There is really support. We have adopted resolutions already, both in the European Parliament, but also in national parliaments, to support the people of Nagorno-Karabakh, to support Armenia, to also ask Turkey to stop its involvement in the region. And we've also looked at how, in which way victims can also be supported. So there is really a positive approach to what is happening there. And there is kind of rejection of the pressure that is coming from other areas also in the Middle East to influence the region. And even here in Brussels, for example, there are people, for example, from Socialist Party or other parties who are not recognizing the genocide. So what is happening in Nagorno-Karabakh is also transported into Europe by people here who are from Turkey and who support Erdogan. So I think that is totally unacceptable that someone lives safely in Brussels, eats food paid by the Belgian state or have healthcare system furnished by the Belgian state, but stays loyal to Erdogan and support Erdogan when Erdogan is helping put people in Armenia in a situation where they do not have access to these facilities. I think it's completely selfish and it should never be acceptable.
Coming to Azerbaijan, European Parliament recently adopted a resolution, very strong one, which demands the release of all prisoners of war and respecting the religious heritage and cultural heritage. However, Azerbaijan ignores this resolution and falsifies the history and initiated a special committee for changing and erasing the Armenian traces from the heritage, fell under their control. What is your opinion on, in general, how the mood in European Parliament?
Yeah, I think in European Parliament, sometimes we will adopt a resolution that is quite strong like this one. And we will see that some autocratic countries, not only Azerbaijan, but also some other countries, would reject or ignore it. But the EU has some tools. So that's why in the resolutions, we call the Commission and we call the Council to actually make sure that there are consequences to the behavior of these countries. There are pressure possible regarding trade, regarding cooperation in other domains. So we need to always find out where it hurts the autocrat, not the population, and see on which button to push to make sure that our goals are reached. But in this case, we'll continue looking into it. We are not dropping this situation. Today, there are other conflicts that people are talking about, and the press tends to focus sometimes on just one or two areas in the world. But it does not mean that the other problems do no longer exist. The other problems are still there. So we need to look at that instead, and we will continue following up in the European Parliament. It's certainly not out of the agenda.
During the war in Artsakh in 2020, high officials and many European Parliament members limited themselves to some announcements and concerns, but now they voice and take concrete actions about the situation in Ukraine. And many Armenians ask the questions for themselves and to the world. Why is that happening?
Well, I think you mean parliamentarians who support Azerbaijan, that's what you're asking?
In general, I mean, there were several actions against Russia, like sanctions, limitations to access for Russian institutions and personalities. But there was no action against Azerbaijan and Turkey, who also were aggressors against Armenians and against Artsakh.
There have been calls and there have been also initiatives taken that could work for the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh. If people think that one needs to do more, of course, as a parliament, we will evaluate it and we'll push for it still. That's why we also put forward the prisoners' resolution as well.
Coming back to the Armenia-Belgium relations, how would you assess these relations now, and where do you see the potential for growing?
It depends. You know, Belgium is also a very different country. Yeah? If you ask me what the relation is with Flanders, as I'm Flemish, we totally understand the position of the Armenians as well. I think there is a good relation. I think also there is an important level of solidarity. But you do also have Belgium at a federal level. And in fact, in the Belgian government, you do have parties where there are some people who still continue denying the Armenian genocide. So I cannot speak for them, but I think they should not tolerate such behavior and such attitude.
And where do you see in which spheres and which sectors do you see the development opportunities?
Of opportunities, you mean?
Yeah, for the bilateral relations.
Yeah, for the relations between, in Belgium, for the relations between Belgium and Armenia, I think, in fact, there is cooperation on education is, for example, something that can be very important. I think there must be cooperation on sharing knowledge, like in new digital technologies. I think there is also cooperation that is cultural. We have called it is very important. It's the soul of a nation. And next to that, there should be also, just like we are having with Turkey, we are having with other countries, we are having with Russia, we are having with the US, we should also have trade with Africa and have trade with countries like Armenia as well. So I think it's important to look at an adult relationship with everyone on the globe. And during that relationship, when there are issues, we need to speak about these issues as well. Unfortunately, for example, countries who are trading with Turkey will tend to forget that they also need to speak about the values with Turkey. They need to say, look, we are trading together, but this is something that we find totally unacceptable ethically, and we need to take that into account. Turkey has been able to do whatever they wanted for too long.
Madam Kanko, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I hope to visit Armenia soon.
Thank you. Hope so. This is Public TV of Armenia, and I hosted Assita Kanko, member of European Parliament, and discussed with her support to the recognition process of Armenian genocide and approach by the European Parliament as well, and also Armenia-Belgium relations. Thank you for watching us.